Yo, what is good? My anime faithful, what is good, yo? Guys, I was going to change up my character, but then I remembered I watched something called The Blade of Immortal, and it's really just a samurai show with everybody being pretty much samurais, but I didn't want to use Taki because I'm not good with their fighting style, and that kind of does suit the character we watched this week who was absolutely going through people with her dual wield daggers. And from what we have kind of an understanding of where this can head in the future, is very, very dim. And I like that. I like having no real information going into what seemingly is coming up next because it just makes it that much better of a of a find, of a discovery, of a experience. If you don't know exactly what's coming around the corner, it has a chance to be anything in your mind. And I think finding out what those things are ahead of time have always been people's downfall in the case of maybe enjoying things more than they would have known, I think. I mean, even with trailers nowadays, they can't really hide too much because they want you invested. They want you to know something that you want, that they think will continue to push forward your interest in the show. So, or movie, I should say too. I just don't really watch opener or ender songs because of that as well, because there's a way that they sneak in these things that really mess up stuff. And I feel like Blade of Immortal is a good instance of never really doing that. So I just wanted to give it a little bit of props for never really giving us a understanding of a full grasp of what we should expect, or not expect, but what we're actually going to see, like characters, faces, um, fights that are happening between said characters or characters that he's not fighting because they're friends. They never do that in this show. And to be able to see who becomes friend, who becomes foe, you have people that are actually the main enemy that we believe to be the enemy becoming one of the best friends. And we're finding out that the actual government officials are the ones that may be the most corrupted in this whole entire show. Or it's just one official and we don't really have any other, true reason to be like, everybody here is the equivalent of this guy in the Shogun, like we can't say that yet because there might be a good one that exists, which I doubt. Nah, but there's got to be someone good. You can't just have a whole corrupted thing like that going, I hope. Um, but yeah, the real telling parts of this show to give you an inkling of where it's going is the girls actually finding these men that have clearly been kind of like free to roam. Like they're not shackled. Their hands are free. Some of them have taken their bags off their heads, so you can actually see they're humans and not just some walking bagged panda or trash panda. I don't know what the heck he put those things on their face to make them feel less human, right? For the other people that were around, because that's gonna help. Um, but after everything is said and done this week, those people who were walking at the end seemingly are immortals, and for some odd reason, my prediction of the Shogun himself needing like a transfusion or wanting to become one of these immortals is now turning into him owning an army of these people who are now going to walk in like some zombies, which, don't get me wrong here, but why would they actually do what he wants, right? That's where the show now needs to prove to me that they have a way of making that elaborate, making that actually somewhat worth putting into perspective, right? How are you going to tell me that these people who have gone through hell and back, being tortured and, experimented on to become immortal, not to mention how many people didn't even become it and just got cut in half trying to test out the immortality that they have. So these are the types of things that definitely have question marks on them, and yet I feel like the show will have these characters working for them like they didn't even go through any pain. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully there's a little bit of some of them trying to rebel, and I'm guessing I can have a good explanation as to why they would work and why they wouldn't, because look at Maji-san, like our main guy who has not been seen until like we saw him one time with like a tube in his nose to probably put anesthetic in him to put him to sleep, and that was it. And all we do know is like thousands of thousands, or not, okay, maybe 8,000, no, like maybe 80 or 70 people have been, or 100. It's a village, not a town. Or it's a place where you see every single woman that kind of shows up here. These are just the women that actually have husbands. These are just the women that actually want to see the people that are taken to this place. There's probably women that, lost their significant other or whatever, but they didn't care. Or there was people that didn't have significant others that ended up here. So there's all of this what if, and for instance, the guy that ended up here that, wasn't even a part of this city, who would have had no one running up to the gate to talk for him. It's the person that our girls were looking for after he was captured, right? So that just goes to show you that and the first person that was in there to get tested on was a man who had stolen something, so he was already a prisoner who had a family, but because he already had gone to jail or whatever, his wife just had to think that whenever his time is served, he'll be out. But little did she know he's in there being experimented on something that might not even lead to him making it out alive or being able to leave without being in trouble. So it's so crazy how many like women are here looking for husbands and lost ones, because like I was saying, it just goes to play on how corrupt the government is, how much power that this shogun has, how much they can do without having really anybody coming in and kicking down the doors, because you are the highest government official. The best thing for these people that they thought they should do when these moms and wives and lovers are seriously concerned and for some reason know that they should be there, are the one thing they tell them to do is, oh, just pull out your sword and kill two of them or three of them. It should be okay then. Like, it's so messed up. And by saying that, it puts into perspective how easy and how fast every single one of these women could have died in that instance if he just, instead of pulling out his sword and acting all high and mighty, and he just swung first time he pulled it out, like the shogun would have. And that's where I was getting with how the slaves, or slaves, how the immortal, like, people that we saw take a couple blows. Maybe it was just that one guy, but I doubt it. I think the reason why all those ones are free and have their mask off is because they've already had the transfusion and they're still alive. However, so with being immortal, you don't need to eat. It's nice to eat so your body is healthier, but when you're immortal, you don't need to eat to survive, right? That's probably another one of the tests. Let's see how long you can stay in a cell in darkness with a whole bunch of other people who may try to eat you, and you would just grow back your limbs. It's so gross thinking about what could happen down there, man. Including in the fact where nobody really has any idea what this man is going to do with this much power. The power to make immortal beings the way the old lady does, or maybe not as as strong or as good as hers, but still, nonetheless, they're taking 3 slices to fatal places and getting back up. So that there goes your army of the dead right there, you know. So I'm so looking forward to what's popping off, because to think that this is an older anime and it's just being remade or like remastered in the animation style. I haven't really asked if there is a whole bunch of changes, like if things have actually, you know, been added or been taken away or anything along those lines. If I watch the old anime, if I watch the movies, will I see all of this stuff transpiring? Or is this something that's exclusive to this 2019 version of it telling, you know? So that's the type of stuff I get to watch later on, because I have no idea about the old show and I'm just watching the new one. And I did it with something with the new show that came out, Diorio, and it was an older anime, but they had just remastered it in 2018. So I'm looking forward to doing the same for this one, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you sooner than later. Peace.